You're watching the Scottish Football Zone with all the build-up and reactions.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the Scottish Football Zone ahead of the weekend's action. Obviously, domestic football returns after the highs of Scotland qualifying for their first World Cup since 1998. And I'm not sure I'm ready to come back to domestic football just yet, but that's the way it's going. Usually you're desperate to get back to the league stuff. But right now I'm still enjoying I'm still enjoying myself after that amazing match on Tuesday night. Michael will be joining us a bit further on in the show, but for now it's just me and Reagan. Reagan, how are you doing, mate?
Doing well, Alex. I've got a very good story about the Scotland match on Tuesday that I'm sure you and the viewers will enjoy.
Yeah, on you go, mate. Come on.
So, I was at the Scotland match on Tuesday night, but I was stuck in traffic, so I missed Scott McTominay's great overhead kick.
Oh no!
And I tell you what happened, Alex. Right, I was getting out of the car. I just grabbed my jacket and I went, I can hear a goal. I can hear a goal. And I said to my uncle, he went, no, I think it's just probably a very good tackle or a very good shot. I went, no, it's definitely a goal. I can hear the place screaming.
I know. Imagine the celebrations for a tackle or something. Those celebrations for a tackle. No, but well, we can. Obviously, there was a show on Tuesday night. However, Reagan, I don't think you weren't on that one. So maybe we can discuss sort of the aftermath for a little bit before we get on to the league stuff. I mean, what a sensational night! Obviously, the overhead kick that you unfortunately missed from Scott McTominay. I'm sure you've replayed the highlights a few times after the game, and and so many emotions throughout. I mean, when Denmark were pulled back and pulled it back to 2 each, and then for me, the moment where I thought, "Oh no, we're not going to do this," is when John McGinn just curled it over the bar, and I thought that was the chance, that was the moment. But then obviously Kieran Tierney pops up in the 93rd minute with an absolute belter, and then Kenny McLean from the halfway line to seal the deal. I mean, being in the stadium, mate, what were your emotions like?
I was a nervous wreck. I was a nervous wreck. And do you know that way that, like, I found it hard? Well, see, to be honest with you guys, I thought that the Tierney goal, I knew it took a deflection, but I was thinking, please not take a deflection off someone's arm or something. Then VR rules it out. But I think overall it was a brilliant night to be involved in. Alex, it was just absolutely brilliant to be there and witness it. And I was in the stadium about 45 minutes after the game to just
Enjoying it.
Seeing everybody so happy and I think it's just the fact that obviously I was born in 1998 and shout out to my mum if she's watching, but I mean I was born in 1998, Alex, so this is the first time that I'm able to see Scotland at a world trophy as well, so it's going to be amazing for me as well. But I just hope that we're no Scotland don't get picked to be shown at 8 o'clock at night in America, because that's 3 o'clock in the morning. So
yeah, I mean, well, if that is the case, I'm sure we'll all be up for it anyway. It'll be a really exciting summer. And you talking about, you know, you've not seen Scotland in a World Cup because you were born in 1990. I'm in a similar boat. I was a wee bit after you. I was born in 2005. So, you know, all sort of the years of seeing Scotland fail, and obviously the Euros was a big moment, but this is the competition that you wanted to see Scotland get into. Excuse me. And I mean, I've seen some great moments, you know, at club level for myself, and you know, Obviously, Rangers making it to the Europa League final, and there's been some fantastic moments for me. But and there's always that debate of club or country. But for me, I feel like this match, this moment for Scotland was the best moment I've experienced in football.
Yeah, I think I think it was right up there. I said to you guys on Tuesday night, I don't know if you guys have done it, but I said to you that would you be able to pick your favourite 5 top matches that you've been at as a person from actually being at the match? But I think that's got to be for me number one. Obviously, I've been to so many matches like Celtic Rangers matches. I've been to Tottenham v Arsenal as well. I've been to many of the games. So there's so many games I've been to, but I think that one's got to be number one.
Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, I wasn't at the game, but I reckon if I was there, it probably would have been number one for me.
I did hear you say on Tuesday night that you turned a ticket down for £80.
Yeah, I didn't want to pay 80 quid for it, but after I was thinking, oh, I probably should have just coughed up the money and went. But I'm kind of like weirdly superstitious like that. Like if like the butterfly effect and stuff. And I'm thinking, oh, if I had gone, maybe me being there, we would have lost. You know what I mean? That's just the way my brain works. Kind of funny like that. But obviously, so we've just kind of been chatting, but now we have been joined by Michael. Michael, we were just doing because obviously Reagan wasn't on the show on Tuesday night. We were just doing a quick discussion about Scotland qualifying for the World Cup.
Yeah, it's good to see you guys, and it's good to see Alex and myself getting our voices back. Because I think we finished at the right time on Tuesday night, Alex. I don't think we could have went any further. Well, I think you were worse off than me, but who cares? We won the game. But I don't know about you guys, right? But it was one of these kind of feel good factors in terms of like that kind of like separates like what we're going to talk about this weekend, like Rangers and Celtic and Hibs and all that. And we've all got a rivalry, like Celtic fans got like Rangers fans and vice versa and all that. And when it comes to the Old Firm and stuff, but when it comes to Scotland, we're under the one kind of under the one scarf, if you know what I mean. Like we always, like it doesn't matter what race you are, what religion you are, how old you are, if you're a man or if you're a woman, stuff like that. Everybody's all together, and that's what I like about Tuesday night, especially when the final whistle went. But for me, it was a kind of I don't know if I've told you guys, but I've been kind of like, not to be too serious on a Friday night on a football show, but over the past couple of days, it's been a kind of emotional time for me in terms of like everything that's going on with my personal life at the moment as well. And it's been kind of like upsetting but happy, if that makes sense. And
yeah,
I hate keeping this conversation down, but you know what I mean, I hope.
Yeah, no, it can be, something that can bring up a lot of mixed emotions, especially, if you've been the stuff that's been happening in your personal life. But I'm glad that hopefully this moment has given you a bit of happiness as well. Especially like obviously we don't want to get too deep into it, Michael, but we know that it's been a really tough time for you recently, and it is moments like these that can lift you for a little bit at least, and like you said earlier, you were talking about sort of the unification of a nation, no matter like what you are. Everyone was together on Tuesday night, and that is a really nice feeling.
Yeah, and Reagan, I was before you say it, yes, I am the oldest here, and I will admit it. But I was doing a bit of research during the week, right, for an article that I'd done, right, and back in 1998. The Game Boy came out, and also like the Scottish Parliament, they had
I remember the Game Boy. I remember the Game
yeah,
Boy.
and like they had planning permission to build the Scottish Parliament, so it's all these kind of wee kind of things as well. But you know what, it felt like me and Alex done the show on Tuesday night, but I don't know if you would agree, Alex, right? But see, when you finished the show, um, I don't know if Ethan's still in the pub. Maybe that's why he's not here tonight. Because Ethan dumped us about maybe about 11:15 to go to the pub. But I don't know about you, Alex, but it felt as though it was like a Saturday night instead of a Tuesday night. I mean, was that that kind of atmosphere at the game, Reagan?
I was just everybody was just saying whereabouts is whereabouts is the party going to be now, and I think it's just a bit of a shame that obviously that I mean obviously people are going to go to America, but it's a big expense and it's so far away as well. So I think it'll be great for so many Scots to get there, but it'll also be good for people as well in Scotland, also for the economy. For I mean I think it's even good for business in terms of like people that don't even enjoy football. I mean I've spoken to so many people who don't even watch football who said to me, "Did you see the Scotland game on Tuesday night?" And that's a good thing as well because you always talk about Michael about the next generation of people. Hopefully that can, I mean, hopefully that can possibly inspire people to who were at the match to go, "Oh, I want to be a John or a Che Adams or something like that." You know what I mean? They want,
And yeah, and also as well that like the next generation, and I think that very an old man when I say that, and before Reagan says anything, yeah, I am an old man compared to you two guys. But as well, I was quite happy to see the game on TV as of like no Sky or people didn't have to go round their mate's house to watch it, even though they still did. But it was on a kind of like free to air platform, and it wasn't behind one of these paywalls, Alex.
Yeah, no, it was. Those are that's good because I feel like sporting sort of broadcasting as a whole is becoming very much you need to pay to watch it. I mean, if you've had any experience with like if you're interested in boxing, DAZN have a lot of the boxing now, and you need to pay for DAZN, but then there's also pay-per-views within the paid subscription to DAZN. So it's so it was really good. I feel like there would have been a national uproar if it wasn't available on the council telly, because it was such a big game for the country, and yeah, it is nice that it was so like readily available for supporters to tune in and watch and experience such a magnificent moment.
No,
I think especially because a lot of pubs as well, because a lot of pubs are not able to afford Sky and stuff like that as well. So everybody knew they could go down to the pub, celebrate with a pal, possibly have a beer or whatever as well.
So I was coming on the show to talk about a good week for Scotland as well. But if you're a Celtic fan like Reagan are today, it's ending up quite an embarrassing day for maybe Celtic Football Club, but also again maybe Scottish football. You would say because I've never heard of an AGM being stopped twice and stuff. So yeah, I mean that was good to speak about Scotland being on the high Now let's talk about the lows because the Premiership's back tomorrow, and I know Alex, you're not going to get away scot-free because I know that Rangers has got about 5 or 6 players out for the game tomorrow against Livingston. In fact, it's that big Danny Rowe had to have a bit of paper at his press conference to rig out the players that's missing tomorrow. So you go from a Scotland high and then back to domestic issues in Galea. All right, so that's back to business then. So Reagan, where do we start with the AGM today? Because I mean, it was well, to be honest with you, I could get told you, and you could get told me, and a lot of Celtic fans could get said this was going to happen at the AGM. But what they didn't know was the way it was going to happen as well. So, what's your thoughts about that, Reagan?
I think anyone that enjoys a bet, Michael, if they'd have went to Ladbrokes or William Hill last night and said there's going to be a protest at the Celtic AGM, I don't think they'd have got any money back. Because the way that the Celtic board have been negligent, I would say, over the last season so far. And I just want to read a stat, right? Now, Celtic, this was Dermot Desmondson Ross says that from 2003 there's been challenges and Celtic as a club try to punch above their weight. Now I can let Dermot Desmondson know that of the last 9 Champions League qualifiers, Celtic have lost 7. So for Dermot Desmondson to say that Celtic are doing their best in Europe and they're trying their best since 2003, I'm sorry. Celtic are struggling to beat teams like Kairat Almaty, Sion, I'm trying to think of a few others, Shakhtar Karagandhi. It's not all down to well. And I think the biggest thing for me, guys, is you ask any Scottish football fan or whatever, right? Celtic as a club have always waited until they've got in the Champions League, until they spend that money. That's not the way the Bruges work. Look at the way the Bruges work. Bruges sold a player and then they go on to beat Rangers 9-0 in the qualifier. That's the way big clubs operate. And I think I would
9-1, by the way. Just
sorry, Alex. Sorry, I missed your goal. And I would also say to Celtic supporters and to the board, don't forget that the team that carried Scottish football for years was Rangers in Europe. Celtic got the guaranteed Champions League football for 2 years under Ange Postecoglou because of Rangers, not because of anybody else. So Celtic can't go on about we've done this and done that, we've tried our best, and to then go out and say that calling supporters bullies, I thought was wrong. Then to go on and talk about the fact that what was it they said? They said something like that basically Celtic as a club are moving forward, which I can see what they mean, but also they need to be able to take accountability as well. And I would also say I didn't realise the fact that Dermot Desmond did not appear. He should be here. He's the main man. You know, it's okay.
Especially, sorry, Reagan, especially, I know it feels like an age ago now, but especially after his damning statement after the departure of Brendan Rodgers, I feel like he's got quite a lot to answer for.
I mean, he was at a Falkirk game during the week, so I mean, I think if you ask 99% of the Celtic fans, they would. Sorry, I think that if you would ask Reagan and Celtic fans, they would rather him being at AGM than the Falkirk game.
I'm sorry, Michael, but that's a meeting that he should be at. He's the main man at the board, and for Peter Lowell to be the main man at the helm again, just shows you all. It shows you every reason why Celtic fans are angry. It shows you why Brendan Rodgers is angry, because Peter Lowell, people tell you, oh, Peter Lowell doesn't really do much. Well, Peter Lowell was the main man again today.
Did you not say at one point in the AGM, calm down? Oh, but no, he said, I think he said words to the effect that behave yourself. Now, that's like the fans are really putting in good money to Celtic, Reagan, and he's actually come round to say, behave yourself. I mean, you can't tell your customers to do that.
I mean, I get what he's meaning in terms of, okay, there is certain elements that I don't agree with about it, but Celtic fans, Alex, they're entitled to protest. They're entitled to do it as much as I don't agree with everything they do. I don't, right? But my point is that Dermot Desmond, as the main shareholder, should have been there. He should have been there, especially with Celtic recruiting a manager. And what happened to football's next big thing, Paul Tisdale? What happened to him? Because he's supposed to be appointing Nancy from
Columbus
America.
Crew.
Yeah, he's supposed to be appointing Nancy from America, so he's got to. I mean, he's got to be there. And I also feel like I actually think that actually done the board a favor by doing that, because none of the questions actually got answered. You know, so I think the only resolution for Celtic as a club is possibly for some of them to step away, but I don't know if it's going to happen, because as much as Peter Lowell's done some good for Celtic over the years, I think now is the perfect time for him to leave.
Yeah, and see all those names that you mentioned, especially like Dermot Desmond, him not being there, that just further distances the board and the supporters. It just keeps getting worse. It's not a good scenario to be in when you keep sort of distancing yourself from the people. By the way, that this is my opinion, that you're supposed to represent their wishes and their what they want. I feel like that should be the job of a board of a football club, to represent the supporters and be in communication with the supporters and always be listening. And granted, the supporters aren't always right, because not all of them know how to run football clubs.
Yep.
There are experts who are brought in to do it, but it just feels like the Celtic board continue to want to sit on their pedestal and look down on the peasants and not listen to a single word that they have to say.
I don't think it's get worse, Alex. I think it's got wider, if you know what I mean by that.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
And I think the problem for me, guys, as well, is, sorry to jump in here, but I think for Ross Desmond, who is not ever involved in anything, to then come out with a paper and say that Celtic fans are bullies, to then go on and talk about the fact that the club are trying to do their best in Europe since 2003, but then the last 9 qualifiers they've failed to get out of 7 qualifiers. That's a disgrace. Rangers as a football club have done more over the past 2 months than Celtic have done in the last 10 years. You look at Alex, right? I've got a great example for you, right? See, Farewell, right? Everybody knows that Farewell is not every Rangers fan's favourite friend, Alex. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, he's a really controversial figure among the support.
But the big thing for me is you look at Philwell. Philwell talks every single time about recruitment. He talks about what he's doing. He was out helping the foundation as well. I just think sometimes see even if like say Dermot Desmond or someone sat down with like even Celtic TV to explain things, but nothing ever gets done.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
by the way, sorry, Alex, could cut across you some breaking news tonight, and it's involving the team that we spoke about for the past 20 minutes, Scotland. UEFA has apologised after videos of the Scotland fans celebrating the team qualifying for the World Cup were removed from the social media channel. So there you go. So some breaking news for you. It just came out
Why were they
about
removed initially?
18 minutes ago. Yeah, so I'm just reading the statement. The Scottish Football Supporters Association received an email from European Football Governing Body, footage showed TV coverage of Scotland against Denmark game on Twitter without. I'm just doing this. If me Vegas were wrong. Yeah, so UEFA made a statement. They said UEFA said many videos were wrongly picked up by content people and apologize. They were taken down due to copy. Right. Okay. So I was copyright as well. So that's the breaking news coming out of UEFA making an apology. That's just happened in the past 18 minutes.
Fair
Right.
enough.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'd imagine some people actually who are trying to catch the final whistle caught Kenny McLean's goal. So I'd imagine, the way that the system works is they might have thought, oh, it's people trying to record the game and give it away, and that's why many of the videos were taken down. But it's decent form from UEFA, I'd imagine, to sort of come out and apologise and say that. I mean, it's not that big of a deal, is it? Honest
No.
mistake.
Yeah.
What I would just add of Michael going back to the Celtic thing is Celtic fans
Yeah.
are not asking for the club to do miracles. They're asking for the club to talk to them more and be more approachable.
I
You know?
don't know what's going to happen now in terms of tomorrow night. I think there were going to be a protest at the St Mirren game. That was a given, but it'll be even more of a protest now, Reagan.
Yeah, but it'll be interesting, Michael, because I think St Mirren are a very good team, and we'll just go into that game now. But I think St Mirren are a good team, so I also don't want it to affect the players on the park either.
Yeah, because it's technically not their fault, Alex. I mean, this is going to be off-putting for the players as well, because obviously it's kind of off the park, and the fans are blaming the board, but the only way that they're going to blame the board is during the game, and that's going to kind of like put off the players. I mean, we saw what happened up at Dundee a few weeks ago,
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I feel like after the appointment of Martin O'Neill and the decent performances, a bit of the pressure has been taken off the players because they're showing a bit on the pitch. I mean, before it was just a toxic cauldron because the performances weren't there. there was also obviously major misgivings with the board that are still there. But I feel like a bit of the pressure has been taken off the players slightly. Although I think we've spoke about this before, they will feel there's still a bit of a toxic atmosphere around the club, as a whole. So that might creep into their sort of psyche coming into this, which will probably be quite a tough game. Weirdly enough, 8:00 on a Saturday night. What a strange kickoff time, but it would be quite might creep into their psyche. But I'd imagine much of the scrutiny won't be on the players. I'd imagine probably the only issue that any Celtic player would have would be Kieran Tierney ripping it out of Schmeichel during training and that. No, but I feel like the players will be all right, and then and they'll get the job done on Saturday. I'm alluding to my prediction already.
By the way, there's a game on tomorrow night, just in case everybody's forgot about the game and they were talking about the AGM. Let's just quickly talk about the St Mirren kind of like point of view, guys, before we move on to the predictions for this one. What kind of performance? I mean, obviously, Martin O'Neill was asked about the game today, even though I don't know if Regan or Alex saw the press conference. There was maybe about 10 questions about the AGM and maybe about 2 questions about the game. But this sums it up by Martin O'Neill. He said it was a very, very sad AGM, but there will be a coming together, but it's sad to see that there's a divide in the Celtic, between the Celtic support and the board. He moves on to the game. He says it's going to be a tough game tomorrow. I saw them against Hibs. They're a good team, and Stephen Robertson is a good manager. Regan, what are you expecting tomorrow?
I was just going to say, I mean, Alex said Stephen Robertson wouldn't even get the Aberdeen job 2 weeks ago. Remember, Alex? That was great that day. But I mean, I'm expecting a tough match as much as Alex doesn't really rate Stephen Robertson, but I'm expecting a tough match. I think St Mirren will do their best. They've got people like Bacchus and Phillips and O'Hara and people like that. So I think St Mirren will ultimately cause a threat. But I think the important thing for us is St Mirren is to try and pose Celtic problems in that forward area, because as much as I feel like Scales was a liability this time, in terms of like 12 months ago, I think he's really turned into a player now that Celtic can really trust. So I think it's important for St Mirren to try and stay in the match for as long as possible. But also, Michael, I think St Mirren have also got the players, like I said, O'Hara, Bacchus, Phillips, who can really, if Celtic offer the space there, then they can really go at Celtic.
Well, I know that you were bigging Mark O'Hara up there, but I'm sorry to say that he's out the game tomorrow with a foot injury. Stephen Robertson revealed that today, so that's on the player out the squad. But I thought we'd just let you go with that one, Regan. But yeah, no, he's out the game tomorrow. Right, prediction for this one. Because I mean, I'm sure we spent more time speaking about the AGM than the game. So I think Alex kind of gave us a wee hint to his prediction there.
Yep. Yeah. Well, last time you all laughed at me after I said 3-0 to Hibs, and what happened? Hibs went to St Mirren Park and won 3-0. So this time, I'm not going to go as convincing, but I'm going to go 2-0 to Celtic.
My prediction is St Mirren 1, Celtic 3.
Yeah, I will go the same as Reagan, apart from 0 to St Mirren, so 3-0 to Celtic tomorrow.
Okay.
So, there you go.
Interesting.
Yes. Down the A, we go for the next one then. And it's Ibrox tomorrow. I'm not sure if you're going to the game, Alex.
No, unfortunately not. I'm working in the morning until 2 o'clock, but I'll be able to get back and watch the game. But then on Saturday night, I'm actually heading out to work a boxing event. So
Whereabouts is the boxing, Alex?
It's not the Celtic AGM, is it? No.
It's at the DoubleTree. I think it's like an extension of like the Hilton in Glasgow. So I've done a couple now. I mean, I done one a few weeks ago at the Crown Plaza. It was on Halloween actually, and now I'm heading out tomorrow night to do another one.
I hope you're not going to pull any punches, Alex. The interviews.
No. I wish I was a fighter, but I'm not quite at that level. I'll just be.
I think then they give you to get the AGM, Alex, just to hold the jackets as well. Or else maybe put them down somewhere.
Yeah, well, I'll be there with a microphone. So unfortunately, sorry, what are you saying?
Have we got any Scottish talented boxers for the future, Alex?
Well, the last one I was at, this young lad made his debut. Young lad, he's probably older than me, but you know, it just feels right to say. Mark Johnston from Wishaw, he won by unanimous decision, and I interviewed him after. You know, it was a good debut for him. Obviously with these local events, there always is Scottish boxers. I mean, the first one that I did was at Bray Head. I wouldn't say up and coming, but this Aston Brown won the I think it's Celtic middleweight title, and he wants to go for the British title next. So he's one to watch out for.
I went to college with a Scottish boxer. His name's Jordan Moffat. So if you hear him, then
okay, I'll keep an eye out.
Go for. Right, there you go. So you're watching the Boxing Scottish Zone tonight. Forget about football. Talk about the boxing. But yeah, it's always good to talk about local talent coming through the ranks. But Rangers against Livingston, Alex. Half of the Rangers team's basically out tomorrow because they've got injuries. I don't know if you saw it away in international duty, but
yeah.
I mean, it's no disrespect to Livingston, but it's not the most exciting game to come back to. But I know that you still have to win the game.
Yeah, it isn't the most exciting game to come back to, and it's made worse by the fact that I just had a wee look at the injuries there. The £8 million dud just keeps getting worse and worse. He's now injured. Liam Kelly somehow picked up an injury while sitting on the bench. Obviously, John Souttar was injured in the warm-up against Denmark.
I think he's probably just had a few shots. It's not the shots. It's not the shots he's had for the. It's not the shots he's had for Hampden Park.
My God, yeah. What if he's been injured jumping off a table or something in the celebrations? that would be embarrassing. No, but yeah, obviously John Souttar got injured, and I don't think that was helped by the fact that when Kenny McLean scored, he was jumping about like a madman. So
guys, wait. I'm just waiting for a statement to coming out from UEFA to say sorry we posted that video of John Souttar. jumping from a table. I'm just waiting for that to come through next.
Aye, yeah, that would be quite something. But obvious, and then other injuries, Derek Cornelius. So that's our two main defenders. So it looks like it's going to be Nasser Jiga and either Emmanuel Fernandez and Clinton Enciala, who we've not seen Enciala at all this season. I think we've seen Fernandez maybe once or twice. So that's not great. And another player who got injured while playing for England under 19s, who has looked really good under Danny Rowe. Yeah, Mikey Moore's been ruled out as well. So that's, you would probably say three, four if you count the amount of starts he's had, but I wouldn't say Chermiti is crucial. But three crucial players for Rangers and John Souttar, Derek Cornelius and Mikey Moore been ruled out of the game. And obviously after Livingston, we've got an important European game against Braga. We just need to get some points on the board. Please. I don't want to... What'd you say?
The one thing I would say, is probably the perfect fixture to play. No disrespect to David Martindale or to Livingston, but I don't think they've been really doing that well this season.
No, they're not. They're actually my favourites for relegation. Watch them go and turn Rangers over tomorrow. But we're still seeing this team develop under Danny Rowe. Obviously, it's hampered with injuries, but it presents opportunities for the likes of Enciala or Fernandez and to actually go and show something. Danny Rowe also mentioned that Kieran Dowell, Rabbi Matondo and Dujon Sterling are not quite up to match fitness yet. The forgotten three, I think you would call them. I still don't know how Kieran Dowell's getting a wage. But anyway,
don't forget, sorry Alex, but don't forget, I think Dowell started a lot of games under Russell Martin, and then he was getting booed as well, remember?
Yeah, he did. That was one of Russell Martin's, genius ideas, and he stuck with him. And then eventually he went, he's just been rubbish from start to finish, and he bombed him at the team, and we've not seen him since. Dujon Sterling's one that I think is fantastic. He's a utility man. He's a great player. He's maybe not the most technical, although he can pass fairly well. It's his physical attributes that you look for in him, and he's tackling and his sort of defensive awareness. And he's played basically everywhere on the pitch. He's played centre back, left back, right back, centre mid. He's played on either wing. I think the only positions he hasn't played is striker and goalkeeper in a Rangers shirt. So Dujon Sterling is one that you really miss. I think maybe the fact that he can play in all those positions is, he's his own worst enemy. In that sense, because he's kind of kept as a utility man to sort of come on and fill in whenever needed. Rabbi Matondo is an interesting one because he has shown moments of quality, but he's been really injury prone, and he's not consistent enough. So he
scored that cracker against Celtic when Philippe Clement said it was a moral victory. Scored that cracking goal.
Some quotes. I'm looking forward to all the quotes he's going to hit out with when Norwich get relegated. Or he did. He scored an absolute belter in that 3 each game, I believe. Rangers looked like they might have gone on to win it, and then Adam Eder scored to put Celtic right back in front after Rangers equalised, and that kind of sucked the momentum out of it for Rangers. And then Rabbi Matondo put it away late on. And I think Cyril Dessers nearly scored to make it 4-3 in the end. But what a crazy game that was. But yeah, he's an interesting one. But especially Cornelius Souttar and Mikey Moore are going to be big misses. However, I think the squad should be enough to turn over this Livingston side in a fairly comfortable fashion. Like I said, they're still developing under Danny Rowe. And I feel like a comfortable, competent victory, void of any drama, would be a good step over a Livingston side who, like you said, Reagan haven't impressed.
I suppose the big thing, Alex, is Rangers will create the majority of their chances and possibly have the big chunks of the ball. It's not as if you're playing like of a Motherwell or a Aberdeen where moments in time then obviously they would create chances. But I think that the majority of the ball possession will be in the I think Rangers will like potentially have like 30 shots or whatever. So it's I think it's all set up for a very good day for Rangers.
I hope so. I mean, I hope so. I hope I'm sitting this time tomorrow, basking in the glory of a 6-0 thumping. But I'm not sure. I have a funny feeling it might be messy. As much as I'm talking about how I want it to be a comfortable standard victory for Rangers, I'm not 100% sure. It's still early to tell with this Danny Rowe team.
Yep, and also from Livingston, do you give him any fighting chance, Regan, or do you think that my favourite phrase is the park 10 buses around the wall?
I think the Rangers' pressure will be too much. I think even if Rangers have got a 1-goal margin in the last 10 minutes, I think Rangers will still manage to see it out. I mean, obviously they've got some good players like Graham Carey and Stevie May and stuff like that who can really do problems for Rangers. But I think in the main, like I said before, I think Rangers are going to create a lot of chances, so I don't see any problem.
Okay, so score prediction for this one, Alex?
Despite all my sort of nervousness, I'm just going to turn around and turn it on its head. I'm going to go 6-1 to Rangers.
6-0.
Wow.
6-1, I said.
6-1.
Don't forget about the one.
I'm going to go 4-0 to Rangers.
And I will keep the score going at 3 because I can't count past 3 this week. So I will go 3-0 to Rangers tomorrow against Libby. So there you go. But we loved you, David Martindale. Anyway, there you go. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We're on the Scottish Football Zone, and you can get down the bottom. If you don't know where that is, it's where it says subscribe. That kind of gives it away a wee bit. And also, if you want to download us, well, not download us because that will be a bit dangerous and a bit messy. But you know what I mean. On if you go to Spotify, you can still download us as a podcast there, so you can listen to us or you can watch 3 handsome guys on a Friday night.
Make sure to hit the notification bell as well, so you know when the videos pop up, so you can be first in to hear our ramblings.
Yep. And also last night, if you missed the show, we done my first women in Scottish football. Regan.
Yeah, that was fantastic, and obviously, this time last week there was the Celtic and Rangers match, and obviously Rangers go on to win the match 3-2 after Celtic starting off so well and doing well. And I think the actual matches and the standards is getting a lot better. So it's so important that the Scottish Football Zone are talking about these matters. It was so good to get Neve and Laurie on and talking about it.
Yeah, so I hope to do that every month or every 2 weeks about talking about women's football. So if you haven't saw it, hit subscribe and you'll get notifications. But in the meantime, you can see the show from last night on the YouTube channel, the Scottish Football Zone, and please subscribe. Yes, I don't worry, I'll mention it about another 10 times before we finish tonight, or else Reagan will kill me. Gets a bit of banter. He doesn't really. Well, maybe sometimes. So moving on to back on the motorway we go, and I don't know why I've got a motorway in my head tonight, but down to Ayrshire for the Stuart Kettlewell derby, Kilmarnock against Motherwell, Alex.
Yeah, and it's a super important game for Kilmarnock. They've lost 5 games on the bounce. I think it's also important for Motherwell as well, because although it was a couple of games ago now for them, I'd imagine that semi-final defeat is still stinging in the fashion that they lost. So it's a really important game for both teams. The added layer, obviously, Stuart Kettlewell managed Motherwell and left in horrible circumstances. The fact he felt he had to leave to protect his family from the abuse, which, obviously is terrible, terrible circumstances. So there's an added layer to the game. And both teams, I think, in need of a win. Both teams at points we've been really impressed by. Kilmarnock earlier in the season were up in third. Now they find themselves down in 10th, only 2 points above the drop, with Livingston there down in 12th, and a point ahead of Dundee in the playoff positions. Obviously, we're still early in the season. I feel like the league is starting to shake out a little bit. Obviously, that middle pack will always be competitive, but I feel like the top is starting to shake out and the bottom is starting to shake out. And Kilmarnock definitely don't want to be in there. So, yeah, massive game. I think this one's really unpredictable because you don't know what version of each team is going to show up. I think Stuart Kettlewell is on thin ice. At the moment, I feel like he's got a few games, maybe. Because if this losing run continues, it's not sustainable. Kilmarnock will end up getting relegated. I mean, losing this many games on the bounce can be really detrimental to their season. So it's a massive game for him. It's a massive game for Kilmarnock. And Motherwell, it's a massive game because they've been so inconsistent. We've all been impressed by their style of play, but they haven't necessarily been turning out results. And I think maybe, I don't know what the pressure's like from the Motherwell supporters, but I feel like in terms of sort of a nationwide pressure of looking at someone and going, oh, they're maybe not doing great, although they're up in 6th, it is really tight in there. And I think maybe Jens Bertolascu has flown under the radar a little bit in terms of managers that maybe should have a little bit of pressure on them because of, the defensive frailties of Motherwell have been exposed time and time again this season. I mean, they can score goals, there's no doubt, but they concede quite a lot also.
Yeah, I'm just going to ask you a question off the back of that, Alex. I mean, see, in terms of Motherwell, that sort of takes me into Denmark, right? Because Denmark should have won that game by 2 or 3 goals on Tuesday night. But it takes me back to they played great football, but they didn't come out on top. And that's the sort of thing that I'm sort of seeing with Motherwell. And I think in terms of Stuart Kettlewell, obviously he's started off really well, and then it's kind of fell away, right? But do you guys feel like maybe this is kind of win or bust for Stuart Kettlewell, especially because it's against his old club, and especially because the fans of the Ayrshire club didn't really want him to be there in the first place. I mean, how difficult that can be as well.
Yeah, because there's an added element of pressure before you're even in the door. I don't know if this game is quite win or bust, but I think it would go a long way to sealing his fate. I think maybe the next 2 or 3, maybe I'm being too generous because he has already lost 5 games on the bounce. Maybe I'm being too generous, but I feel like the next 2 or 3 games, if he doesn't pick up, I'll say at least 4 points. It's going to be real trouble for Stuart Kettlewell, and especially I think. Sorry, Reagan, you mentioned there the Kilmarnock supporters didn't want him initially. and I feel like it. Kilmarnock supporters are some of the most temperamental supporters in the league, I think, and it can turn really sour really quickly. I mean, I'm not sure about, because obviously Twitter and real life are very different, but Kilmarnock supporters on Twitter, sometimes they can be absolutely mad with some of their takes and how quickly they turn on managers. And I'm not, if you're a Kilmarnock fan watching, I'm not taking a dig at you specifically. I'm just saying, in the world of football Twitter, you guys are ones that I've noticed in particular.
Yeah, and I think that's fair because I think even you look at the treatment they had of Derek, the former manager, I found that a little bit strange as well, because no disrespect to the great fans of the club and the great people that work there as well, but to then moan about Derek McInnes leaving to go to Hearts, I think it's a little bit bad as well, Alex, because at the end of the day, I mean, he's got you into a top six, not last season, but the season before, and he's proved in Scottish football that he can do a very good job. Then he wanted to go and prove himself at a bigger club, I would say, Alex. So I just didn't understand why they really all moaned about Derek, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of get what you're saying, but I also feel in the manner that Derek McInnes left was a wee bit, I don't know, unprofessional.
So what would you have rather he done? Because see the way I see it, Alex, the very last match he would have played against his next employers, and they didn't. The Kamala fans didn't want him to do that. So I'm just wondering what your resolution would have been.
It's just the fact that I think you could see he had one foot out the door. For the last few games, he didn't do press, I think, for the last couple of games either. Just kind of, it almost felt a wee bit mercenary, the way he kind of did it. I feel like he maybe should have just went out there and done his duties and just been all been like full on Kelly until the season was over, and then he could obviously do his thing.
Yeah, I mean, I can totally see that, because then the fans of the Ayrshire club then think of Derek McInnes in a different light. I totally see that.
Yeah.
I think Alex is right about, because if I remember, Paul Shearing done the last two press conferences for Kilmarnock of the season, and I don't think it's very good. Alex is we're going to make a wee substitute because, well, nobody's coming on, but Alex is going off.
You're going down to 10 men.
Yeah, you've been sent off because you've got your voice back.
You get my red card at the AGM earlier.
Yeah. So what? Before you go, can you make a case for? Can you make a case for Motherwell tomorrow, and can you give us a prediction?
Motherwell play good football. I mean, like I said, they're really unpredictable. They could go out and put 2 or 3 past Kilmarnock, but I feel like they have major defensive frailties also. Like I said earlier, this is a really unpredictable game, but we're going to try and predict it anyway. And I think I am going to go for... Oh, so tough. I'm going to go absolutely mental, actually. I'm going to go with a 3-each draw.
What? I can't even see a goal coming in my 6 goals.
No, I feel like this game's going to be leaking goals at either end.
I'm going to go I'm going to go 1-0 to Kilmarnock.
I will go for the way in tomorrow. I will go 2-1. There will be goals, but it will go in the favour of Motherwell. 2-1 to the Steelmen tomorrow. So there you go.
Alex, make sure you enjoy the boxing, mate.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
I'll see you later. Enjoy the rest of the show.
Yeah,
Thank you
thanks,
very much.
Alex. There we go.
I'm,
There we go. That's Alex. He's away to get his boxing gloves on for tomorrow night, Regan.
I'm looking forward to it. I mean,
So yeah, so there you go. But yeah, I mean, just come back over old ground a wee bit, Regan. That's right, sad how the fans kind of like chased Stuart Kettlewell out of town because he was doing not a bad job at Motherwell.
yeah, Shuka was a good man, a good manager, and he's proved he's a good coach as well. And I think it was sad the way it basically all went from there because I think he has a good coach, and he's proved that at various clubs. So I think in general, it was harsh, but I think these people on social media who go on and talk about things, I think sometimes it can be just too much for me, Michael.
Yeah, yeah. Let's move on to the game in Edinburgh then. Hibs against Dundee. Regan, I don't know what to expect from Dundee. I mean, they got a decent point against Rangers at the beginning of the season and they beat Celtic a few weeks ago, but they've not really been consistent as well. And obviously, they got that derby win against Dundee United as well. But I mean, Hibs are on a bit of a run at the moment as well. So, do you expect that to continue tomorrow?
In terms of Hibs,
Yeah.
yeah, I think I think I see Hibs going on and doing well, Michael. And I think they obviously had a pretty difficult start to the season, but we've seen that last year. I mean, Hibs went on a bad run last year, and then they go on to finish third in the table. So I think David Gray is a fantastic manager, and they proved that last season.
Yeah, no, I mean, because I remember going back to a conversation we had on the show to say that he might be the first manager to do this job. And I mean, he turned it round.
Yeah, he did. I mean, I was one of the people on the show. Like, you can go back to one of the very early episodes of the show. I did say that I just felt like David Gray was on a hiding to nothing because I just felt like they were losing games and it was the manner they were losing the games. And I didn't want his legacy of that 2012 match when they beat Rangers in the 2016, sorry, when they beat Rangers in the Scottish final. I was actually in Prague that day, Michael, and I remember it coming through telling me that Stokes had scored after about 3 minutes, and then obviously it was some match, and then for David Gray to then pop up at a corner to win the match was incredible for Hibs.
What do you make of Stephen Presley, Dundee under Stephen Presley? As I said, they've been a bit kind of up and down.
I think in general, Stephen Presley's a difficult one because, as we said about Stuart Kettlewell, I think when you're on the back foot right away, when the fans don't want you there, it can be very difficult. But Stephen Presley actually has done well against Celtic and Rangers. He got a point against Rangers at Ibrox. And I think the problem with that I've really got about the problem that I've got really, Michael, is that I don't think he was the popular choice for Dundee, but I think he proved against Celtic and Rangers that other day Dundee they can do something. But do I think that Stephen Presley's a long-term succession plan for Dundee? Do I think he's going to bring success? Even Stephen Presley said that if you want a man that wins trophies, don't bring him, don't hire him. He said that. He said that in his very first words when he went to Dundee. If you want a manager that brings success, don't bring me. So he's telling me he I think that was the wrong move for him to do that as well. May I add, Michael, but
I was just going to say, I think this is the start of the weekend, Reagan, and I didn't know this. I don't know if you knew this either, but I was listening to Stephen Presley today, right? And he was talking about the game. Do you know the last time Dundee beat Hibs at Easter Road?
no.
Right, okay. And I mean you can go and check just in case you don't believe me, because I know you don't believe me at times, right? But it says we haven't won there for 20 years.
Whoa, that's crazy.
Yeah, but he said he goes on to say they're a good side, so it will be a difficult game, but I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, I mean, as soon as he said 20 years, I was like, that wow, that's a long time ago. That's about like maybe about 7 managers. If you think about it, that's maybe like 7 or 8 managers ago.
Yeah, and I think that's crazy start, but I think it just shows you that Scottish football never fails to amaze. And
Yeah, no,
as much as I'd be surprised if Dundee were to get a result, sometimes Scottish football can throw up these surprises as well.
yeah. I mean, do you think as well that I'm not sure how many Hibs players were away in international duty, but do you think that Dundee will pardon the punt, catch them a bit cold on Saturday tomorrow even?
I tell you what, Michael, it's going to be cold because I think today was -5, so they better catch some cold. They'll not be hot anyway.
No, exactly. I mean,
The only thing that'll be hot will be the pie and bovrils, but I think I think I think that's a good point you make because sometimes after the international break, you sort of are not in your full stride, I would say. So sometimes you can, because you've been away in national duty, it takes you a few matches to get up to full speed. So I think that's a good point you make, and that could possibly be in the back of Dundee's mind in terms of right. This is the first game back, so that this could be this could be an opportunity to break that hoodoo. But one thing I want to say as well is Stephen Presley should not drop Simon Murray again because Simon Murray is Dundee's best player, and I feel like if they want to get anything from the match, they need to play their best players.
and do you think as well that Reagan, like, see if Simon Murray was playing every week, right, for Dundee, and they were scoring goals left, right, and centre, and we spoke about Scotland at the beginning of the show. Do you think Scotland should be looking at him? Maybe not for to start every game in the World Cup, but maybe just to as an impact sub to bring on.
Yeah, I think that's right because he's well. I don't really watch him week on week now, but under Tony Duckett, he was really good and you could really see what he was doing. He scored great goals against Celtic Rangers. He scored great goals against Dundee United. So he, wa- he was the kind of fox in the box, if you would say that, Michael. But I'm just hoping that for for him, he can sort of try and get back to that scoring goals what he's normally used to doing for himself.
Even at Ross County, he was scoring goals for fun as well. And in fact, did you not score the goal it kept them up last season?
Sorry, That was 2 seasons ago, Michael. Sorry.
Yep.
Yeah, he scored against Rafe Rovers to keep him
Yeah.
up.
So there you go. Because we're not blessed by goal scorers, but in saying that, Ronan Shanklin came on the other night as a sub, and
I just want to get your point right because I heard this on every media station. We need to talk about it, right? Because I heard about it for the last day or two, right? And all the media stations were talking about it. I want to get your opinion, right? They were saying, should Harvey Barnes be called up? I mean, obviously the guy is a very good player, right? He's 26 years of age. He's playing for Newcastle. He's playing really well, right, Michael? But do you really think he should be called up?
well, you know me, Reagan. I don't watch a lot of English football, so I'm not. I couldn't pass judgment on that comment. But like, if they're scoring goals every week for Newcastle and is playing at that kind of level, why not?
The big thing for me, Michael, I'm not going to hold back on this. I just feel like would he be choosing Scotland if we didn't get to the World Cup? Is he only choosing us because we got to the World Cup?
I hope he's not using us because a lot of people are came to
Yeah,
Scotland.
that's what I mean, Michael. I would rather play like so, Finlay Curtis or a James Forrest, who hopefully go on to a really good second half of the season. I'd rather pick them than say a Harvey Barnes. Not because I'm better that he's only choosing us because we got to a World Cup. But I just think if he was really that into us, he would have chosen before this
By
qualifying.
now.
He would have chosen before the qualifying campaign. But
Mhm.
Michael, I mean, but obviously he sees like people like Saka, Harry Kane, that Anthony Gordon, who's his Newcastle teammate. He obviously sees a few of them and goes, "I'm not going to get in this team." So my best way to get to a World Cup is probably with Scotland.
Yeah, no, definitely. So, what's your Hibs and Dundee? What's your prediction on this one?
I'm going to go for the Highbees 3, Dundee 1. Do you know what I should really do, Michael? I should come back and listen to my predictions because I bet my predictions are brilliant. No, I'm
Yeah,
joking.
you might be at the bottom of the table, but if you turn upside down, you'll be at the top.
See, that's what we should do, Michael. See for the second half of the season, we should do a wee predictor. And then we should,
Yeah, we should do a league table and see who's right and who's wrong. As well.
uh,
I think by memory, I'm doing okay this season. I've got some of the games right. Maybe not the.
I mean, that would be a change for you, Michael, because you always sit in the bench and you'd be getting a sore bum.
Well, yeah, because I get to come in now, Reagan, because it's too
It's getting
cold
too cold.
outside and it's too icy in the fence. So I'll save that one till April or May, and then I'll be out the fence again. I will say 2-0 to Hibs. This one, so home one.
Fair enough.
On that one. Let's move on to Dundee United against Falkirk. And yeah, that should be an interesting game.
I think it's got all the makings of being a cracker. You look at Falkirk playing really well at the moment. Obviously, John McGlynn, the manager, really got a good brand of football. You look at Jim Goodwin as well. He's fresh off a draw at Ibrox, fresh off a draw at Tynecastle. So they're really brimming with confidence. So I think this has got all the makings of a cracker, Michael.
Yeah, no, I know two good managers coming up against each other, as you say, got John McGlynn against Jim Goodwin as well. And Jim Goodwin was asked about the Republic of Ireland's last minute winner on when was it Monday? Monday night, Cloy Parrott as well, and he was right happy about that as well. But yeah, I mean, I think I mean. I think we spoke about it back in the day, Reagan, right? But when he was at St Mirren, he done a brilliant job. When he was at Aberdeen, in total opposite there, like you saw him walking across the park. But I think he's actually back his best up at Dundee United. Like he got them into, I think he got them into Europe, and
Yeah, I mean,
he got them
the
back in the Premiership.
the word I would use for Jim Goodwin is I think Dundee United has revitalised his career
Yeah. No, exactly. Yeah.
because I think that the fact that he was walking across that tough at Easter Road and things weren't they good and whatever else and walking across with that bag, that was I mean on a humane level, you've got to feel sorry for him there because he was under so much pressure. Um, but I think he's done a remarkable job at Dundee United. When you look at the results in Europe as well, he done really well. Obviously, they missed out because of a last minute goal as well. So I think, in general, I think he'll be pretty happy going into this match, especially because they got a point in time cancelled. But you look at that match, and I managed to see the 90 minutes of that game, Michael, and you've got to say Dundee United were looking very good in that game.
Oh yeah. I sorry. Because of a hiccup there with mine, but uh, yeah. They were looking good, and he's kind of bounced back well on that front. As for Falkirk, I've not really saw Falkirk live this season, but I seen him in the playing in the championship last season, Reagan, and they did well under John McGlynn. I mean that's two promotion back to back.
Yeah, I mean, they play a really good brand of football, Michael, and I'm really impressed by them. So I think it will be a good game to watch. Sorry, Michael, I don't know if you're. Sorry, Michael, you okay? No problem. Yeah, I mean, I think Falkirk in general, they are a team who are really good to watch. And I think in general, um, in terms of what the Falkirk fans' expectations are, I think they'll be pretty happy with the way things are going, to be honest with you. I mean, that they're doing really well against top teams in Scotland. I think any Falkirk fan would bite your hand off for that a couple of years ago. And I think in general, I think they've done a very good job over the past years, particularly run by their CEO Jamie Swinney, who's done a fantastic job off the pitch as well.
Yeah, no. I mean, I know going about it every week, Reagan, but the Falkirk Skigum is one of these kind of. I don't know if I've asked you about this. If you've been to the Falkirk Skigum for a
I
game, but I mean, no,
have, yep.
yeah. I don't know about you, but it's a good stadium at the moment. But when they build the new stand, if they're going to build it opposite the main stand, it will be a nice stadium. I mean, it's a nice stadium now, but it will just finish it off.
Yeah, well, and I think the great thing I like about Falkirk is people forget that Falkirk are one of the most supported clubs in Scotland. They're a big club.
Hmm.
I mean, they might have been in the Championship or the League One for a while, but they're a big club, and every home match this season has been sold out. So the I don't really buy into what they're seeing.
Yeah, no. So, yeah, I mean, Falkirk has got good players. But also, I think the key for me, Reagan, is they've had that group of players for like 2, 3, 4 seasons, and I think that's key for them running away with the league in the championship and doing so well in the Premiership this season.
Yeah, I think it is because Falkirk have got a really good bunch of players who clearly buy into what the manager and the coaching staff are doing. That they also have a really good fan base who understand, right, this is um what we want to achieve and what we want to be a Premier League club for many, many years to come. And I think that's um a big possibility as well because Falkirk have got a really good group of players as well, and they've got. I'm not a big fan of plastic pitches, but I think the one at Falkirk is actually pretty great to watch football on.
I mean, I think, yeah, I mean, the plastic park, we always talk about that, right? But I think, like, if you didn't know, if I told you that Falkirk were, if Falkirk had a plastic park, you would be very surprised because that's one of the better surfaces. Well, when we're talking about that kind of surface.
Yeah, I think it is because it's it's actually very good for the players to play on, and to be honest with you, Michael, when you look at it on the telly, it actually looks not too bad. Like if you look at the previous ones over previous years, over many years actually, of the Hamilton pitch and obviously the
Livingston.
Tony Macaroni, you look at that and you think to yourself, that one at Falkirk is one that I would take all day long.
Yeah, well, for me, it's between, obviously, we don't like plastic parks, but for me, it's between that one and Airdrie because that's a good surface as well, kind of like out there. What's your score prediction for this one, Reagan Dundee United against Falkirk?
I'm going to go Dundee United 2, Falkirk 3.
Yep, there'll be plenty of goals in this one, but I will go 3-1 to Dundee United tomorrow.
Oh, that's a good score.
Let's move on. That before we get to the championship, there's one game to talk about on Sunday, and it's a 3:00 kickoff. It's Aberdeen against Hearts, Reagan.
Yep. Aberdeen against Hearts is going to be an absolute cracker. I'm looking forward to it. I'll be in sitting on the couch watching it, Michael. I mean, that's going to be an absolute cracker. I think the Hearts are playing really well, and obviously, I think Jimmy Talleen has got a bit of credit in the bank from his performance in Europe, and obviously Aberdeen drew the last match with Motherwell. So I think this is a must-win for Aberdeen, but also it's a must-win for Hearts because you look at the fixtures and you would expect Rangers, as we've said, to go on and win against Livingston, right? You would also expect Celtic by hook or by crook to go on and beat St Mirren and Paisley tomorrow night. Then that would leave the gap to Celtic 4 points with a game in hand. Then it would also leave the gap not that much to Rangers as well for Hearts. So this is a must-win match for Hearts as well. They need to win.
Yeah, no, it's also a difficult game as well for Hearts going away up to Aberdeen, but also because they got points all week as well, and they're coming to Celtic Park in a few weeks as well, you know.
Yeah, and as much as Aberdeen are playing pretty bad at the moment, right? Aberdeen is always going to be a tough place to go, no matter how bad Aberdeen are playing. It's always going to be tough because Aberdeen's crowd is absolutely fantastic, to be honest with you.
Yeah, no, and I think Hearts will take a good support kind of like up there to Aberdeen. And if Aberdeen like to be in Aberdeen this weekend, Reagan, because I think
The
they
Northern
haven't.
Lights of
No,
Aberdeen.
yeah, well, as you can see the Northern Lights. That is, but I mean, Derek McInnes is doing a brilliant job for Hearts as well. The Heart, I think if you ask any Hearts fan, they would be very surprised that we're coming into the December next week and the still top of the league as we speak.
Yeah, I mean, it's fantastic for them. They're doing absolutely brilliant, and I think it's a credit to Tony Bloom. It's a credit to Andrew McKinley on the board. It's a credit to everybody on the board that's really backed Derek and backed the Jamestown Analytics as well, because it's proven to work. You look at this time last year as well. Lawrence Shannon wasn't even playing as a striker. So I think what Derek has actually done for that club so far has been nothing short of remarkable. I don't expect the Hearts to finish first or second, to be honest with you now, Michael. Because
Yeah.
because I just feel like the matches now for Hearts are. I feel like the match against St Mirren and the match against Dundee United, if you had any chance of winning a title, those were matches that you had to win. You know,
And what about Aberdeen? Do you make a case for them being at home? I know you spoke about Jimmy Tardine getting a wee bit of Craig in the bank.
yeah, I think Aberdeen have got a really good shot. To be honest with you, they've got players in the top end of the pitch like Clarkson, and that's bit who on their day can really prove a point and really do well. And I think like this Aberdeen team really want to do well, and I do feel like Sunday's going to be Aberdeen's day.
So that gives you a wee hint for the score prediction around Reagan in this one, Aberdeen against Hearts.
I'm going to go Aberdeen 3, Hearts 2.
Oh, okay. I will go goals in this one again, and 2-1 to the Dandy Dons, Aberdeen.
Interesting.
So there you go. So
The one thing I would say on this game, Michael, is it's so important for Hearts to sweep the tide, because they go to Celtic Park in a few weeks, so they don't want to drop any more points. They want to stay in touch.
yeah, no, exactly, and I think big games like this, that I know we always say it, Reagan, and it's a bit of a cliche statement, but the first goal is always crucial in games like that.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's a lot of Hearts players as well, like Craig Gordon especially, who'll be wanting to play in Sunday, but knowing that he's second in the pecking order, so I think it'll be interesting.
Yep. So there you go. That's your pickings of the Premiership action of the weekend. Then let's go to the Championship, and I was having a wee chuckle to myself, Reagan, because the game on tonight, Queen's Park against Ross County, and I know that I was getting mixed up the games played at West Ham game, but what I meant was the atmosphere will be a bit more different round Hampden than it was this time on Tuesday night.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to this game tonight. I love the Championship. It's a relentless league. I'd probably say it's the best league in Scotland, to be honest with you, Michael. I think it's got a bit of everything. I managed to see Steve Clark during the week, and obviously I think like you said, I think Hampden will be a different place. But moving on to this match, I spoke to Sean Crichton 2 weeks ago. If you go into the Scottish Football Zone on Spotify, you'll be able to hear my interview. I felt like Queen's Park played okay, but on that day they just got blown away by Partick Thistle. I was at that game. It was Partick Thistle 5, Queen's Park now, but I just got a really feeling about Sean Crichton and what he's trying to do there. And obviously Queen's Park go into this off the back of a 4-3 defeat to St Johnstone, so I don't think they'll be too downhearted.
Yeah, no, definitely. Run through the rest of the games now. Eardley against Ayr, Arbroath against Raithrovers, Dunfermline against Morton, and the game that Mr. Stevenson is going to Packet Thistle against St Johnstone. And I think that game should have been on the TV tonight. No disrespect to Queen's Park or Ross County, but I think that's a top of the table class and it should be on the telly. But yeah, going back to the game tonight, Reagan, Queen's Park against Ross County. I mean, I don't see anything but a home win in this one. I haven't saw much of both teams this season, but I would imagine Ross County would be line up the same in terms of like the that's stuffy for teams to break down, especially away from home.
Yeah, I think it will be, and I think you're spot on there. I think the match tonight. I think it will be. But I'm looking forward to this championship weekend, Michael. I mean, like you said, the match of the weekend, Partick Thistle against St Johnstone. I'm looking forward to being there. It's going to be great. I'm looking forward to meeting the Scottish Football's own colleague, Alistair Blair, as well. So it'll be good to see him.
Yeah, no, yeah. So I mean, I was gonna say what's your pick of the games at the weekend, but I think that's a bit of a stupid question, Reagan. I think I kind of know that one. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I mean, I just think because there's so much riding on it. I mean, Partick Thistle can go 3 points behind St Johnstone with a game in hand, so potentially that could be level. It could be level. So, and then if St Johnstone win, it could be 9 points. So it could be a massive gap, massive gap.
yeah,
Um,
it should be a good game.
I'm looking forward to it, but I'm looking forward to seeing players like Josh McPake as well because I know the St Johnstone fans have got a big affinity towards him, but I'm looking forward to. I'm getting the opportunity tomorrow, Michael, to speak to your pal, Valakari.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think by all accounts that I've met him a few weeks ago, and he says he's a nice guy. So yeah, so look forward to that interview and look
So
out
you'll be
for
on.
that interview.
So you'll be on the Scottish Football Zone on, I think, either Sunday or Monday, Michael. So I'm looking forward to bringing that interview to you.
Yeah, so listen out for the interviews that Reagan will do with Valakari or and Matt Wilson after the game. Reagan's a
Yeah,
busy boy for Hill.
Michael, it should be good. And I should also say that potentially we've got someone as well who's going to come on and talk about the night at Hampden Park as well.
Yep, and it's not Reagan. Uh, so that's on Monday at 7:15. No show on Sunday because we'll be on Sunday. We'll be on Monday talking about the weekend's games, and then also having that big interview. I don't think it's confirmed yet. So, or is it confirmed? I don't know. Reagan's putting on a phrase about, "Oh, I'm not telling you." So, watch out for that 7:15 on Monday. But in the meantime, subscribe to the Scottish Football Zone YouTube channel and Spotify channel. All you have to do is search for the Scottish Football Zone on YouTube, on Spotify, sorry, and subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, the Scottish Football Zone, on that one. And also, while you're there, you can watch the throwback that we did on Tuesday night for the Scotland Denmark game. It was a brilliant post match show. and you can watch the show from last night. Meave, Half Football World. It's all about Scottish football in the world of women's football. So there you go. So that's all the games this weekend. If you're going to a game, let's hope it heats up, because in the Central Belt it's absolutely Baltic freezing as well. So thanks to Reagan, thanks to Alex joined us early on. Thanks to all your comments, and remember to subscribe to the Scottish Football Zone, and we'll be back on Monday and Thursday, double header for us next week because of the European football. Celtic, Rangers, Aberdeen is in European football. But remember, be here on Monday at 7:15, and yep, and we will talk about the games, and we will look forward to the European games and have that interview that Reagan's going to be interviewing someday on Monday. Let's just say he's the voice of Hampden Park. We'll see you Monday, 7:15.
You're watching the Scottish Football Zone with all the build-up